So I want to talk today about self-awareness because I feel like it has been a big part of my transformation and my awakening. And I feel like people throw that word around a lot, but we don't really understand why we need to be self-aware. So I'm going to talk about, for adults, why being self-aware is important. As parents, how to help your kids be more self-aware, so you don't have all these millennials wandering around not knowing what to do with their lives. And I'm also going to share the story and the flashback of how the light bulb went on for me and I understood the idea of being self-aware to begin with. So let's get started. So self-awareness has been key in my transformation because having the ability to realize that you are not your thoughts, you are the one who is thinking the thoughts, which is kind of a really hard to grasp concept. But let me tell you how I first realized how the light bulb came on and I figured out what self-awareness actually means. And Gary Vaynerchuk talks about it a lot. And actually it was in a vlog, and I'm gonna flash back to that right now.
When you switch the camera, instead of talking in the first person and you talk in the third person, is when you're documenting. Because I'm talking to you. I'm talking to all the people that may have something that they resonate with that is in my message. So that's why people have to hire a D-Rock, is because in order to document, you actually need to be talking from here. So
I was realizing that when I was vlogging, when I was holding my own camera, it was more of like I was just talking to myself, which I do a lot, which may be my personality. I don't know. But the actual documenting your life by vlogging and the self-awareness comes from when you have another perspective on you. It's not you holding your camera, it's someone else holding your camera. So if you can stay with me, the idea of you holding your own camera while you're vlogging is really like you're talking to yourself, you are your thoughts, and you're just in this hamster wheel of thinking the thoughts every day, like you can't control them, and you almost don't have any control over any of it, to realizing that taking a step back and looking at it from the perspective of someone else holding the camera gives you that perspective where you are actually watching your thoughts. So take, for example, I didn't get up this morning at 5:30 to run because it was like 30 degrees out and it was too cold. So the thoughts in my mind are like, God, I'm like so lazy. Why can't I do this? If I was a successful person, I would clearly be getting up every morning at 5:30. And then being able to step back, have the awareness of it's okay. I'm not a terrible person because I didn't wake up at 5:30, and just having more compassion on the situation. But I really have to be able to look at it from kind of like a higher perspective or a different perspective. I have to get out of the head that is saying, I'm such a terrible person, I'm never going to be successful in life because I didn't get up at 5:30 this morning and run. So as adults, I feel like it's very important for us to be able to have self-awareness, because there are so many people in their life right now that are not happy doing their current job. I went through the same thing with my own career just recently even. I stepped back from taking the architectural projects that just sucked the life out of me because I realized there was part of that I wasn't good at and I didn't enjoy. And so being able to look at that and say, I'm not really good at that and I don't love that. So I'm just going to be open to new clients that want these design services as opposed to, you know, something different. So looking at what you're good at and really being able to give yourself the freedom to make that choice. Being self-aware has a lot to do with knowing yourself. And a lot of times, if you don't talk to yourself, you might think, oh, she's crazy. She talks to herself all the time. But in reality, in order to get to know yourself, you have to have that inner dialogue. You have to ask yourself, what gets me up in the morning? What excites me? What am I thrilled to do today? And what am I not thrilled to do today? So that is kind of how to start developing that self-awareness in a nutshell. As parents, I have a 10-year-old, a 12-year-old, and a 14-year-old, and don't think that I was super well planned in having them because they're not actually like exactly 2 years apart. But I think especially for kids these days, when I was a kid, I probably had the conversation with my parents of what do you want to be when you grow up? And there's nothing wrong with that. But what it does is it starts putting people in boxes. So now I said I wanted to be an architect because I had a mechanical drawing class that I loved and I excelled in. But you know what? I didn't really know what an architect did when I was 15. So I put myself in the box that pursued architecture, and I will never regret anything that I did in my life, but it put me in a box to follow a trajectory and a path that may have been different had I been more self-aware. So for my kids, instead of talking to them about what they want to be when they grow up or, you know, where do they want to go to college, you might consider taking it back to what do you love? What are you good at? And helping them to see the things that they are good at. For my middle child, I am constantly affirming her ability to be organized and disciplined, and she helps me to format my book. And I mean, I feel like I am helping her to be self-aware by not only asking her, what do you enjoy doing in, you know, X, Y, and Z, or in school today, or what was your favorite part about it, or you know, bringing up conversations like that where kids can really be self-reflective. But I'm also helping to call it out and identify it in my children. So for my youngest, who she will joke with you about how I am always telling her, oh my gosh, you could do this with your life. You're so good at gymnastics, like you could go to the Olympics. It's not that I'm saying go put yourself in this box to go to the Olympics, but I'm helping her to realize something that she's good at. When it came time for her to step down from gymnastics, I didn't care. It's not my life. She needs to feel into that if that's makes her happy. What part of gymnastics does she like? She is good at so many other things. Like, I've kind of like hired her to be my personal coach. So on the mornings when we have time, she works out with me. And that's just something that she loves and she's good at. And I don't need to identify how that can tie to a career that will make money someday. I just need to help her to see what she's good at and what she likes and what she enjoys and what she could do all day long without even realizing where the time has gone. For my son, he is such a people person, and he's the oldest, so he's 14, he'll be 15 next month. And for him, it's really, really about self-awareness, because as a teenager, I feel like they have a hard time even figuring out what's going on in their mind and their psyche and their emotions, and maybe for girls more than boys, but definitely with him, I have just spent time with him and just encouraged him in the things, like when we really raised him to play baseball his entire life. From the time that he could stand up, he was swinging a bat. And as he's starting high school this year, he expressed interest in playing lacrosse. And that came out of nowhere. But I feel like as a parent, my job was to support him in his decision, really give him encouragement for trying new things, taking risks, going out for a sport in high school. I mean, there's like a lot of positives in that. And in doing that, he finds the things that he's good at. He finds the things that he likes. And it helps us to be unattached to the outcome and just really be more focused on getting to know ourselves, helping our children get to know themselves. So, yeah, that's all. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this, and I would really love if you left a comment to tell me what you want to learn more about. I love to talk about mindfulness, meditation, finding space and making space in your life. I would love to share more about my transformation and my awakening and what that means. So we'll just stop there and say thanks for being here.